Welcome to the Luminary LifeKits podcast, where each week I help you reconnect with and resource yourself as a working mom so that you can savor this full-on and full-hearted season of life with young kids. I'm your host, Cara Mayola. I'm a licensed professional counselor, a women's health specialist, and a fellow working mom with a young kiddo. And I am so looking forward to connecting with you today. Mama, let's talk about cultivating joy and ease even in a challenging day. I can't wait to share with you a mind-body approach that really does work to lighten the load, especially from the inside out as we're moving through a difficult day. Before we dive in with the strategy, I wanted to read to you a poem that to me captures the essence of what it can feel like as a working mom when you're having a challenging day. It's a poem by a new to me now beloved poet, Hannah Rosenberg, and I'm going to read it. On the inside, I am a fire, a child in tantrum, tar-like anger, sticky and hot. A catalog of complaints, a spouting of things that have not been easy or fair. Another one, too, of what I deserve. A long walk, a day at the spa, an afternoon of television until my eyes blur together and I rot with boredom. On the outside, I am breeze. I hush and I soothe. I sing, I coo, I say, what now for you, sweet baby? What can I do for you now? Those that know me well know that poetry is like a spiritual practice or a lifeline for me. I find so much solace in the art of those that are so good at the wordsmithing of our lives. And I love Hannah's poem here, how on the inside, as a working mom, what it can feel like when we're having a really difficult moment or a really difficult season. And that even when we are like tar-like anger, sticky and hot, we don't maybe do it perfectly all the time, but so often we are still calling upon some deep part of ourselves to be like a breeze for our little ones, soothing them, moving to them with comfort and care. Of course, we all hit our limits and show up hot and angry on the outside too. But so much, Mama, I know how you show up for your little one or little ones. You are so often a joyful, easeful, soothing presence in their lives. But who is soothing us? That is my question, and it is my goal that by the end of this podcast, you will feel like you have found a newfound belief in your own ability to be the breeze for yourself. That you'll see that problem we all have of the aloneness, the fatigue, and the emotional difficulty that comes within a challenging day, that is something that is not unique to you alone, and there are simple and evidence-based and clinically backed strategies that can help us to move through those difficult days with a little bit more joy and a little bit more ease. Today we're going to be talking about how to pair a key self-regulation practice with a self-connection practice that will help you to move through the difficulty just like a pro. Let's talk about 3 of the most common difficulties that make up a challenging day for most working mothers. The first is the relentlessness that can come with a fully packed schedule. You know those days where you are pretty much scheduled to at least the half hour or the minute. and there's really no time to refill your own cup, either at all or as fully as you need in order to be feeling like your best. There's a certain rigor to this season of life with young kids where they're dependent on you in so many ways, even if they're a little older than they were last year or the year before. There's still so much rigor that comes day in, day out of being that primary caregiver for your little one. And most working moms I know, myself included, don't have like the ability to have big or prolonged or regular breaks from both work and caregiving. So the number one of the three most common difficulties is just that day in and day out, fully packed schedule. It can take a toll. The second common difficulty that most women experience as working mothers is when circumstances outside of yourself are difficult, stressful, worrisome, or tiresome. So things going on with a partner, either between you within the relationship or something that partner is going through on their own, that experience that partner is going through can really have an impact on how we feel on the inside. Or something outside of you would be something happening with your kiddo, either between the two of you, you're trying to work on your relationship, or you're not sure what your parenting strategy or approach is with whatever the behavior is that's challenging, or the new horizon that you're exploring with your kiddo. Or maybe they're going through something. Maybe they're experiencing difficulty with their peers, or difficulty in their caregiving situation, or difficulty in their own feelings of stress or anxiety or discomfort. Of course, when our kids are going through things, it usually weighs on us pretty heavily. Or maybe from the outside, it's something at work, either kind of the drinking out of the fire hose, full volume demand with work, or maybe the opposite is true, that you're feeling a little stagnant, stale, or unfulfilled at work, and that is weighing heavily. Or girl, maybe it is even things like the state of the world and the influx of news coming your way. There's a lot happening in the United States culture and the bigger, broader, global culture. Wherever you're listening, I'm sure there's something big happening in the bigger world around you. So these outside factors can be some of the components that make it a particularly difficult or tender day to get through. Or maybe number three, maybe the third common difficulty is something that you're going through personally on the inside. Maybe you're going through a period of tender emotions or some big growth or changes that are happening on the inside of you. Or maybe there's some relational dynamics in your world, whether with family or friends, that's weighing on you. Maybe you're feeling a sense of uncertainty or a lack of clarity in the direction you're headed as a person, or in a way to connect with yourself that feels current and authentic and fresh. And sometimes when those outside stressors start pushing us around on the inside, we kind of tap into these either anxious and pressured or disconnected and collapsed, difficult places on the inside. Regardless of the difficulties that are making it a challenging day, we all need specific frameworks and regulating practices that help us to break up the day, cultivate joy in the ordinary, keep us lifted and energized, as well as find ease and soothing from within whenever we need it. Today, we're going to talk about using mindfulness paired with self-regulation to help bring the ease and joy and lift into our day-to-day lives, especially in the challenging days. So mindfulness, the skill of mindfulness, speaks to our ability to make contact with what's happening in the present moment, the journey from moving out of our heads and the world that lives in the busyness of our mind and the busyness of our to-dos, and into our lives, bringing our full attention into the present moment. Self-regulation speaks to doing activities that signal safety to your autonomic nervous system. So we're going to bring the attention of the mind through mindfulness and the wisdom of the body through nervous system regulation. We're going to pair it together in a beautiful practice called sensory grounding. Sensory grounding is a practice of bringing your full awareness to the present moment by tuning into your surroundings and engaging your senses. And you're going to bring an intentional focus into the soothing aspects of your surroundings and engaging your senses in a way that brings comfort, joy, delight, and promotes a sense of presence and safety on the inside. Sensory grounding helps your brain and body to start to work together a little bit more cohesively, helping us to tune into our surroundings and let our awareness get a little bit bigger than whatever we were currently or before sensory grounding hyper focused on, so that we can move from whatever is distressing or challenging happening with our thoughts and emotions on the inside. We can flexibly move our attention outward toward the cues in the environment that help us to feel like there's more to ourselves, there's more to our lives, there is more safety and well-being available to us in the moment than we were previously just paying attention to. When we're able to practice that skill of flexibility of attention, we're able to move away from an overwhelming inner sensation, and we're not moving away from it like pretending it's not there or minimizing it, saying it's not important or avoiding it in any way. Rather, what we're trying to do is flexibly move our attention just a little bit away from what's feeling like a problem toward the bigger cues in our external environment that help us meet the moment more fully and with a better presence, bringing more connection and grounding to that moment so that we can move toward a more open-minded and refreshed and replenished state. It's kind of like, do you remember those, maybe this is like a 90s thing, so I'm not sure if everyone's going to get this reference, but you know those images that look really pixelated and weird and like nothing if you look at it straight on? It looks kind of like a chaos of colors and it doesn't have a lot of form or meaning to it. But if you can get your eyes to kind of soften their focus and just look to the side a little bit, or even pull that image a little bit further back so that you're not looking at it so closely. You can pull it further back. All of a sudden, a shift occurs. And then this image, this like fully formed picture, pops out of that what was once pixelated and nonsensical picture to a distinct image. It looks like it's 3D popping out. If you know what that's called, I can't remember what it is, send me a little message, DM me, or send a little comment. What is that called, those fun little 90s books? But you know what I'm saying? Sometimes in order to get a clear picture or the full picture, we need to learn how to kind of open up our senses, soften our focus, almost just look to the side for a second so that we can get our best brain available, so we can see a bigger picture of ourselves and our lives. Again, not replacing or avoiding emotions, but tapping into a version of ourselves that has increased capacity to make room for that balanced perspective, for self-soothing, and for being the loving, friendly person to ourselves, being the breeze, so to speak, to ourselves, especially when we feel like we are on fire, being that breeze to ourselves, just like we often are to others. That's the mystery of this human experience, isn't it? It's a mixed bag. That in the exact same moment, there are aspects of your life that are very challenging and demanding, that are creating a lot of heat and pain and turmoil. And at the exact same time that is occurring, there is a co-occurrence. There is room also for there to be beauty and connection and spaciousness. The mixed bag of being human is that it's all available to us, all at the same time. So sensory grounding helps us to access a connection to what is helpful and safe and good in our lives, even in the midst of difficulty and stress. There are 3 practical ways that I have found make all the difference in those challenging full volume days as a working mom. I'll give you a little primer on sensory grounding as well. So sensory grounding is when you choose to light up your senses and bring in that sensory information from the outside in. So you're going to look around your room or step outside and look around outside. Or while you're driving, you're going to take a look beyond just the 2 little lines in the road. Or if you're commuting or you're sitting at a kiddo's activity or practice, you're going to take a step back and you're going to try to get a big picture of the world around you. And you're going to look for what's called glimmers. So you're going to look for the things in your environment that signal beauty, joy, well-being, novelty, fun, comfort, and peace. You're going to look around and start to name to yourself and key into the things in your environment that look like glimmers. So you're going to use your sense of sight. You can expand and enrich this activity by using your other senses as well. So you can, in that same few minutes or moments, open up your ears and listen to the sounds in your environment. One of my favorite times to do these sensory grounding activities is as mini breaks throughout my day. So one great mini break time is right after I drop off my son at school, and then I'm coming into work before, like when I leave the car and before I get into my home office, I pause outside in my yard and for 30 seconds to 3 minutes, whatever time I'm willing to take, I'll open up my senses and I'll look around and see what I can see and look for the glimmers. And then I'll open up my ears and hear the glimmers in the air. This morning, in February 10th, there was a bird chirping in Colorado. So it's still winter here, but I heard this bird song. It felt like a promise of spring. It really brought a lift to my morning. You can use your other senses while sensory grounding as well. You can smell, you can reach around and touch. If you have something delicious to eat or drink, you can even taste. Sensory grounding means that you meet the moment fully. You bring the skill of mindfulness, just paying attention to the present moment, getting out of the story of your head and into the tangibility of your life. And then use sensory grounding to awaken your senses and look for the glimmers. And then there's another step in sensory grounding in these mini breaks. Then you lock in on 1 or 2 glimmers, whatever sense you are using, smell or sound or sight or what have you. And then you practice taking it in and savoring it. So you let it sink in like warm sun on your face on a cold day. You let it sink in a cell layer or 2 more. So you're not just referencing the glimmer in your mind, but you're taking time to really experiencing it with your senses and then taking it in and savoring it and almost letting it make an imprint or a shift or a balm or a breeze, so to speak, in this conversation into that mind-body connection. So I want you to think about this practical way. Number 1, Where are all the times in your day where you could take a mini break? Practical way number 2 to utilize the tool of sensory grounding is to bring overtly comforting things to you with you into your day when you know it's going to be a difficult one or challenging one, or when you're waking up feeling a little thin and frazzled or depleted in any way. That is a day to get ahead of it and bring some comfort objects with you to make the experience of humaning and adulting and mothering and working that much more easeful. So think of like a soft sweater, a favorite hot drink, bringing soothing sounds or music into your workspace. Or if you need noise canceling headphones for more silence and less stimulation, that actual absence of sensory information can be very, very grounding sometimes. Or maybe you bring a favorite hand lotion or oil that has a soothing and calming smell. Or you take an extra few minutes to grab a few ingredients from your fridge when you're preparing for the day to have a hearty, comforting, thoughtful snack for yourself. These are just examples of how you can use your senses, things that appeal to your body and any one of or all your 5 senses, and pepper your day, sprinkle your day, support your day like in a warm hug with comforting objects. Your mind-body connection just might thank you for it. The third practical way to practice sensory grounding in a difficult day is to tune into your senses, looking for the glimmers in the moment and then letting them sink in. And even if they don't replace the difficulty, at least be right there alongside the difficulty while you're in the middle of a practical to-do, something that you're already doing, like while you're commuting, when you're doing chores like washing dishes or wiping down counters or folding laundry. Or maybe a practical to-do is you're getting your child or children ready to move from one activity to the next, to take a moment in the labor of that to take a little bit of an overhead look at yourself and at your life, to tap into the cues in the environment, though there may be many that are a little distressing or frustrating or tiring or exhausting, lots of those with kids and the to-dos and the transitions. But also, can you grow a little bigger? Can you expand a little more? And also take note of the things that feel workable, that feel fun or enjoyable, that feel endearing or meaningful, or even comforting and important to you. So any of those to-dos or more that you can think of, practice right when you're in the middle of it, just taking a pause in your mind, zooming out, coming into contact with the present moment, using your mindfulness muscles, and key into your senses. Use them as a portal to reach into that moment, to pay attention to the things that do feel easeful and joyful to you. Now remember, this practice is not meant to minimize any difficult or adverse life experiences you might be going through. It's not meant to guilt trip you around having bad feelings or feeling annoyed with your kids or having a difficult time. And it's not to bring a fake unicorn and rainbows Band-Aid to really important things that are hard and might even need to change in your life. This is meant to bring a smart and soothing you into your own challenges, to be the type of friend to yourself that brings comfort and support and levity to the ongoing difficulties you're experiencing in this season of life, so that you can be a breeze for yourself as well as your kids, but more, mama, for you when you need it and as you need it, even when you're on fire. And of course, if you want a little more guidance on this tool, and if you want someone like myself to pop into your world with support, the Calm Kit online program has my absolute favorite guided sensory practices ready to accompany a challenging day so you don't have to go it alone. My very favorite one is my walking sensory grounding tool. I listen to my own audio practice myself almost every week, if not multiple times a week. And so I will be that comfort and joy and ease for you, my friend, anytime you need it, if you'll allow me to pop into your earbuds with a Calm Kit guided audio practice. Thank you so much, friend, for listening to this episode of the Luminary LifeKits podcast. If you liked it, please consider giving it a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And if you know any other working mama who needs to hear today's episode, please go ahead and share it with her right now.